The red light of a cell phone camera blinked on, broadcasting what should have been a moment of pure joy. Instead, it captured the last breaths of a newlywed bride. Grimaldo, Ven, I have something special just for you. Mireya Tsompa's voice rang with excitement as she adjusted her phone on the tripod. The afternoon sun streamed through the windows of their Oaxaca villa, casting golden light across the wall she'd spent weeks painting in secret. The livestream chat flooded with heart emojis and excited messages from friends and family. Show us! We're waiting! This is so romantic! Mireya smoothed her white dress, the same one she'd worn at their wedding just 3 weeks earlier. Her dark hair fell in waves as she positioned herself in front of her masterpiece, a vibrant mural blending ancient Zapotec symbols with modern art. Grimaldo appeared in the doorway, his expression shifting from confusion to wonder. For 5 perfect seconds, everything was as Mireya had planned. Then a shadow moved across the edge of the frame. The crack of gunfire echoed through hundreds of devices. Viewers watched in horror as Mireya's smile vanished. The phone tumbled, landing at an angle that captured her white dress now stained with spreading red. The big question now is, who turns a wedding celebration into a public execution? Before we go deeper into this shocking case, welcome back to Altar of Secrets, where love stories reveal their darkest corners. A special shout out and thank you to our loyal subscribers, as well as first-time viewers joining us today. Here at Altar of Secrets, we transform real events into dramatic narratives that expose the warning signs most people overlook until tragedy strikes. Our stories aren't just about the crime, they're about the human choices that led there. If you're new here, now's the perfect moment to hit that subscribe button and activate the notifications so you don't miss our uploads. We bring you cases that challenge what you think you know about marriage, relationships, and trust. Drop a like if you're already forming theories about what happened to Mireya, and let us know in the comments which country you're watching from. Our global community sees these stories from fascinating perspectives. If you've ever thought, I would notice if my partner was hiding something, or violence like this doesn't happen to people like me, this channel might change your perspective. These aren't just stories for entertainment. They're cautionary tales that might save lives. Now let's return to Oaxaca, where a bride's surprise for her husband became her final act of love. Mireya Tsompa wasn't just beautiful, she was brilliant. At 32, she had built a reputation as one of Mexico's most respected art restorers, dedicating her career to preserving indigenous Zapotec artifacts that others had forgotten. She could look at a faded painting and see what no one else could, said Professor Alejandro Ruiz of the National Institute of Anthropology. Mireya had this gift for bringing lost stories back to life. Her Instagram showcased her work, ancient pottery with colors renewed, textiles with patterns made visible again, and most recently, her excitement about a collection of pre-Columbian gold figurines. Grimaldo Vega entered her life at a museum fundraiser 2 years ago. The 36-year-old civil engineer stood out for his quiet intensity. Unlike Mireya's animated presence, Grimaldo moved through the world with careful precision. They balanced each other, recalled Mireya's cousin, Lucia. She pulled him out of his shell, and he gave her stability she'd never had before. Their courtship was swift but private. Within 8 months, they married in a small ceremony with only 30 guests. They purchased the villa in Oaxaca 3 months after their wedding. Built in the 1920s, the house needed extensive renovation. Grimaldo would handle the structural work while Mireya restored the original details. What no one knew was how Grimaldo's past would collide with Mireya's artistic vision. The quiet engineer had carefully constructed his life in Oaxaca, but beneath his calm exterior lay a foundation built on secrets. The live stream began at 4:37 p.m. on a Tuesday. Mireya had chosen the time carefully, when the sun would hit the mural at the perfect angle, illuminating the gold and red pigments she'd mixed herself. Testing, testing, she whispered, adjusting her phone on a wooden tripod. Can everyone see me? The comment section confirmed they could. 27 viewers at first, mostly family and close friends who'd received her text invitation an hour earlier. Mireya wore a simple white dress, her wedding band catching the light as she gestured toward the covered wall. Grimaldo doesn't know what I've been working on for the past month, she told her virtual audience. Every day while he was at work, I was here painting our story. The camera captured the room's transformation. What had once been a blank wall was now hidden behind a large cloth. Flowers filled ceramic vases on either side. Candles flickered on a small table beneath it. I've incorporated symbols that mean something special to us, she explained, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper, and some ancient Zapotec imagery that represents protection and prosperity. The viewer count climbed to 43. Comments scrolled faster. Show us already! This is so romantic! Grimaldo is going to love it! At 4:42 p.m., the sound of a car door closing came through the speakers. Mireya's face lit up. He's here! The front door opened off camera. Mireya? Grimaldo called out. In the main room, she answered, positioning herself beside the covered mural. I have something to show you. Footsteps approached. The live stream captured Grimaldo entering the frame, his expression shifting from curiosity to surprise as he took in the setup. A gift, Mireya said, reaching for the cloth, for our new beginning. She pulled the covering away, revealing a stunning mural that spanned the entire wall. Vibrant colors formed intricate patterns, two intertwined trees with roots stretching deep into stylized earth, branches reaching toward a sun composed of ancient symbols. For 5 seconds, the live stream captured pure joy. Grimaldo stepped closer to the mural, his hand reaching out to touch a particular symbol near the center, a golden spiral surrounded by what looked like mountains. Then at 4:45 p.m., a movement caught the camera's eye. A door opened behind them. The gunshots came in rapid succession. Mireya fell forward, her white dress instantly stained red. Detective Yaotl Cienfuegos arrived as the sun set over Oaxaca. At 54, he had seen enough death to last several lifetimes, yet something about this scene made him pause at the threshold. The contrast struck me immediately, he would later tell reporters. A room prepared for celebration. Flowers, candles still burning, transformed into a crime scene. The technical team was already processing evidence. The mural, now partially stained with blood, dominated the room. Officers photographed every inch of it, sensing its importance without yet understanding why. Grimaldo sat on the front steps, a blanket around his shoulders despite the warm evening. His hands were still red. He had tried to stop the bleeding, to save his wife. Now those same hands shook as he clutched a cup of untouched coffee. Tell me about the live stream, Yaotl said, sitting beside him. I didn't know about it, Grimaldo replied, his voice hollow. She wanted to surprise me with the mural. She'd been working on it for weeks. And you had no idea what she was painting. She kept the room locked, said it was tradition, that seeing it before it was finished would bring bad luck. A bitter laugh escaped him. Bad luck. Inside, forensic technician Marisol Ochoa called the detective over. You need to see this, she said, pointing to a section of the mural that remained untouched by blood. Yaotl leaned closer. What had appeared to be decorative patterns from a distance were actually intricate symbols, some recognizably Zapotec, others more obscure. These aren't random, Marisol said. They're arranged in a specific sequence, almost like a code, Yaotl finished. Meanwhile, another officer approached with Mireya's phone. The live stream had been saved automatically to her cloud account. Already, copies were circulating online despite police efforts to contain it. Mr. Vega, I need to ask you a difficult question. Who would want to hurt your wife? Grimaldo looked up, his eyes red-rimmed but suddenly clear. No one would want to hurt Mireya, he said quietly. But there are people who would want to hurt me. My real name is Alejandro Soto, Grimaldo began, his voice dropping to a near whisper. I was born in Agua Prieta, on the border with Arizona. Detective Yaotl's pen paused over his notepad. The name meant nothing to him, but the location spoke volumes. Border towns were notorious crossroads for cartel operations. 6 years ago, my brother Mateo was a journalist for El Imparcial. He was investigating money laundering through construction companies in Sonora. Grimaldo, or Alejandro, stared at his hands. He found connections to the Sinaloa cartel, concrete evidence that would have exposed high-ranking officials. What happened to him? Yaotl asked, though he suspected the answer. He disappeared. His car was found abandoned near the highway. 3 days later, I received a package. His voice broke. It contained his press badge, covered in blood, and a note that said, "You're next." "So you ran, changed your identity, became Grimaldo Vega?" "Yes. I moved constantly for the first year, changed my appearance, my profession, everything. I was an architect before. I downgraded to civil engineer to attract less attention. Eventually, I settled in Oaxaca. It seemed far enough away." "And Mireya? Did she know?" A flash of pain crossed his face. "Not at first. I told her after we were engaged. She deserved to know what she was marrying into. She said it didn't matter, that the past was the past." "When was the last time you had any contact with anyone from your previous life?" 2 years ago. I received a text message from an unknown number. "We haven't forgotten." I changed my phone, moved apartments, then I met Mireya, and for the first time, I thought maybe they had forgotten me after all. "If they found you after all this time, why target your wife? Why not you?" Grimaldo looked up, his eyes suddenly clear despite his tears. "Because killing me would be mercy. They wanted me to suffer, to live with this. This is how they operate. They take what you love most." This story takes an unexpected turn that changes everything we thought we knew. Like this video now if you've already formed a theory about what happened, and comment below with your suspicions. 3 weeks before her death, Mireya had texted her friend Citlali Reyes. "Found something incredible in the museum archives. Need to talk in person, not over the phone." Citlali, a documentary filmmaker known for her work on indigenous art theft, met Mireya at a small cafe far from the museum district. Security camera footage later obtained by police showed an animated conversation with Mireya repeatedly opening and closing a leather portfolio. She was excited but nervous, Citlali told Detective Yaudel. She'd discovered a collection of gold figurines in the museum's basement, items that had been mislabeled and forgotten for decades. The figurines, dating back to the 12th century, depicted Zapotec deities associated with wealth and protection. But what made them remarkable wasn't just their age or craftsmanship. Mireya recognized them from old photographs, Citlali explained. They matched items stolen from a sacred site in 1978, a theft that was never solved. The museum had acquired them through a donation in the 1980s, not realizing their true origin. According to Citlali, Mireya had begun researching the figurines' provenance, creating a detailed timeline of their journey from sacred site to museum storage. She found a pattern of similar artifacts appearing in private collections across Mexico and the US, Citlali said, all passing through the same few hands: wealthy collectors, specialized dealers, and one particular shipping company based in Sonora. The shipping company's name, Construcciones Aguila, one of the same companies Mateo Soto had been investigating before his disappearance. "Did she tell Grimaldo about this connection?" Yaudel asked. "Yes, about 2 weeks ago. She said he became very upset, not angry, but afraid. He begged her to stop the research, to return the figurines to storage and forget about them." But Mireya didn't stop. Instead, she encoded her findings into the mural she was creating, hiding the evidence in plain sight, using ancient symbols to document modern crimes. She thought art would protect her, Citlali said, that by transforming her evidence into symbols, she was keeping it safe. 1 week into the investigation, an encrypted video file arrived at the Oaxaca police station, addressed specifically to Detective Yaudel. The sender, anonymous. The video quality was poor, the lighting dim, but the content was clear enough. Mireya sat at a table in what appeared to be a private room of a restaurant. Across from her, a man kept his face turned away from the camera, only his hands visible, adorned with a distinctive silver ring shaped like a jaguar. "That's Eduardo Vargas," Yaudel's colleague whispered. "Known as El Senzontle, he moves between legitimate art dealing and black market sales." In the video, Mireya pushed a folder across the table. These belonged to the Zapotec people. Her voice was firm despite the poor audio quality. Not in private collections, not in museums that don't acknowledge their origin. El Senzontle's response was measured. "You're disturbing a very profitable arrangement that has existed for decades. These artifacts move through specific channels. The money they generate supports powerful people. People connected to the cartels," Mireya stated. "People who don't appreciate interference," he corrected. "Your husband understands this reality better than most." The mention of Grimaldo made Mireya pause. Leave him out of this. His brother paid enough for asking questions. Yet here you are, asking the same questions. El Senzontle leaned forward. The figurines you found are just the surface. There's an entire collection still hidden at the original site, worth millions on the international market. People have died protecting this secret. People will continue to die if these items aren't returned where they belong, Mireya countered. I've documented everything, the names, the transactions, the money trail. And where is this documentation? Mireya smiled. Somewhere safe, somewhere beautiful. The video ended abruptly. Yael replayed it 3 times, noting the date stamp, just 4 days before Mireya's murder. She was warning him, Yael said, telling him she'd hidden her evidence in the mural. Technical experts analyzing the live stream made a discovery. In the minutes before the shooting, several users had joined the broadcast from the same IP address, a location just 2 blocks from Mireya and Grimaldo's villa. They were watching in real time, Yael realized, waiting for her to reveal the mural. When confronted with this evidence, Grimaldo broke down. I warned her, he said. I told her what these people were capable of. My brother disappeared for asking questions about their money. Mireya was exposing their entire operation. The live stream wasn't just a celebration, Yael concluded. It was her insurance policy. She thought going public would protect her. Instead, it told her killers exactly when to act. Mireya's funeral drew hundreds to Oaxaca's historic cemetery. Museum colleagues, art students, and local residents gathered under a cloudless sky, many carrying small reproductions of her restoration work. The villa, now a sealed crime scene, became an unofficial memorial. People left flowers and candles at the gate, some pressing small notes into the cracks between stones. She wanted to right a historical wrong, said Professor Alejandro Ruiz in his eulogy. Mireya believed that art wasn't just about beauty. It was about truth, about justice. Citlali Reyes began documenting the case, interviewing those who knew Mireya, and examining the wider context of artifact trafficking in Mexico. Her camera captured the grief of a community, but also its determination to continue Mireya's work. This isn't just about one murder, Citlali told her viewers. It's about decades of cultural theft disguised as preservation. It's about powerful people using violence to protect their investments. Grimaldo refused to leave Oaxaca despite police concerns for his safety. Each morning, he visited the police station for updates. Each evening, he returned to a hotel room filled with Mireya's photographs. The mural, carefully removed from the villa wall and preserved as evidence, revealed more secrets under forensic lighting. Ultraviolet examination showed additional symbols written in pigments visible only under specific conditions, names, dates, locations of transactions. Meanwhile, El Senzontle vanished. His gallery closed abruptly, his phone disconnected. Border Patrol was alerted, but most officers believed he had already fled to Guatemala or Belize. The gunman remained unidentified. Security cameras had captured only a partial image, a man in a motorcycle helmet entering the neighborhood shortly before the murder. As weeks passed, the case remained active, but progress slowed. Then, just as media attention began to wane, a new development broke the stalemate. Don Romulo, the elderly caretaker of a property adjacent to Mireya and Grimaldo's villa, came forward with information he had been too frightened to share initially. I saw men watching the house, he told Yael. Not just on the day of the murder, for weeks before. They took photos, they made notes, they were waiting for something. 2 months after Mireya's murder, a man walked into the Veracruz police station, his face hidden beneath a baseball cap. He asked specifically for Detective Yael, refusing to speak with anyone else. My name is Javier Mendoza, he said when Yael arrived. I worked for Eduardo Vargas, El Senzontle, for 8 years. I arranged meetings, delivered messages, kept records. Yael studied the man carefully. Why come forward now? Because Eduardo is dead. Javier placed a phone on the table. They killed him 3 weeks ago in Guatemala. Same people who ordered the hit on Mireya Tzampa. The phone contained photos. El Senzontle lying face down on a tile floor, blood pooling around his head, the distinctive silver Jaguar ring still on his finger. He wasn't supposed to meet with her, Javier explained. The organization has rules, no direct contact with potential threats. But Eduardo was curious about her research. He thought maybe they could reach a compromise. What organization are we talking about? They don't have a name. just wealthy collectors, politicians, cartel financiers, people who've been trading these artifacts for decades. The gold figurines are just part of it. There's a whole network moving pre-Columbian art through private channels. Yao leaned forward, and Mireya threatened this network. Not intentionally at first. She was just doing her job, authenticating items in the museum collection. But then she recognized pieces from a documented theft, started asking questions, connected dots that were supposed to stay disconnected. So they killed her. Javier shook his head. Not immediately. They watched her, hoped she'd drop it. The order only came when they learned about the live stream, when they realized she was going to make her findings public. How did they know about the live stream? Her social media. She posted that morning that she had a special surprise to share online later that day. Someone was monitoring her accounts. Do you know who pulled the trigger? A man called El Sombra, contract killer from Michoacan. He's worked for various factions over the years. No loyalty except to money. Where is he now? Dead too. Car accident near Puebla last month. Javier's laugh was hollow. Convenient, right? They're cleaning house. That's why I'm here. I'm next on their list. The sacred site Mireya had identified in her mural was excavated under heavy security. Archaeologists discovered a cache of artifacts that had been hidden there, not by ancient Zapotecs, but by modern traffickers, using the remote location as a storage point before international shipment. 1 year after Mireya's death, Oaxaca's Museum of Indigenous Art opened a permanent exhibition dedicated to her work. The centerpiece, her restored mural, now recognized not just as art, but as evidence that helped dismantle a decades-old trafficking network. Detective Yaddle stood at the back of the crowded opening ceremony, watching as visitors moved slowly past photographs of Mireya at work, samples of her restoration projects, and detailed explanations of the symbols she had used to encode her findings. She turned evidence into art, and art back into evidence, the museum director said in her opening speech. In doing so, she reminded us that beauty and truth are not separate paths. The case changed how museums across Mexico examined their collections. New protocols required rigorous documentation of provenance, particularly for pre-Columbian artifacts. Items with questionable origins were set aside for further investigation. For Grimaldo, who had reclaimed his birth name, Alejandro Soto, the year brought a different kind of transformation. He established a foundation in Mireya's name, funding both art restoration projects and journalism scholarships focused on cultural heritage protection. My brother asked dangerous questions and disappeared, he told students at the National Autonomous University. My wife answered those same questions through her art and was killed for it. Their work continues through each of you. Citlali's documentary, The Mural, Art as Witness, won critical acclaim at international film festivals. Its final scene showed the sacred site where the hidden artifacts had been recovered, now protected by federal guards and indigenous community members working together. The investigation led to 27 arrests across 6 countries. Yet the highest levels of the network remained untouched. Powerful collectors, protected by wealth and political connections, continued their lives undisturbed. The system bends but doesn't break, Yautl observed during his final press conference on the case. We cut off branches, but the roots remain. This tragic story reminds us that sometimes the most dangerous secrets are hidden in plain sight. What do you think Mireya could have done differently? Share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe if you're new here, and join us tomorrow for another tale from the Altar of Secrets. Until next time, remember, behind every celebration, every moment of joy we share online, there may be watching eyes we never considered. In Mireya's case, her live stream became both her testimony and her undoing, a modern tragedy for our digital age. Stay safe, stay aware, and thank you for joining us today. See you on another story from the Altar of Secrets. Bye for now.